Well, the South African Human Rights Commission participated in a dialogue hosted by the Commission's Children's Rights Unit aimed at empowering the youth and children by addressing the prevalent issues affecting them. The Commission has dedicated the month of June to embark on various interventions aimed at educating and empowering the youth about their human rights and how to assert themselves when they are violated or threatened. To take this discussion further, we're now joined via video link by Commissioner Nomahlubi Khwinana from the South African Human Rights Commission. Commissioner, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. So just talk to us about the central reasons that you participated in this dialogue. And of course, notwithstanding the debilitating unemployment rate that young people in this country face, I think we're sitting at around about 45% of unemployment. What for you are some critical issues facing the young people of today in this country?
Unemployment is, it's at its highest in our country, and it is a concern. But, in the area where we went, we were able to talk about a number of issues that are facing our young people, such as abuse in different forms. They mentioned your sexual abuse, your cyberbullying, and many other forms, And what was important to note was that these children are learned insofar as these different forms of violence against their human rights. They were also even able to call out on things such as the fact that they don't have fundamental rights, such as the right to water. Just as I was going towards the area, I came across a group of people who were standing to try and get, a bucket of water. And you can imagine if they were supposed to attend the venue, the event, they could not, because water remains as commodity in our country.
And just in terms of the one issue that, was brought up by the Commission itself, South Africa is a country plagued by bullying and associated child-on-child abuse, so something we don't speak a lot about, despite there being 5 separate pieces of legislation, against bullying. I mean, bullying continues unabated with no real consequences, for the perpetrator, or at least those that cause harm to other children. How would you say, as a country, we are handling bullying, particularly in schools?
Yeah, in schools, what we have actually done as a commission, as early as January, we were monitoring school. How we saw we could make a difference is by asking them about their policies on bullying, because we do have cases that have been brought to us as a commission with regard to bullying. And what we found was that most of the schools don't have these policies. And I suppose that exacerbates the problem to an extent that most of these teachers do not know how to deal with fame. So what we have then done is that we will call on the MECs of the different provinces to bring them to a meeting where we talk about where are these documents. And most of them would then say that, but those documents the department has provided, but it would then mean that the principal or whoever is in authority in those schools are the ones that are just not keeping proper record of this information. And so we realized that with a lot of teaching, which must just continue, we can maybe somehow be able to cap this violence. Thank you.
Your commission itself found that bullying in schools is in such of a serious concern that more than 3.2 million learners are bullied yearly in this country. You mentioned policies in schools and the fact that some schools don't actually have them. Some actually do, but they are really not enforceable and rarely ever implemented. In as far as, starting to craft that document, what should schools and especially parents be looking out for in as far as the implementation of those is concerned?
Well, I wouldn't really say that they're not enforceable. The issue is the people that must enforce them. So as I said, with regard to MEC, these documents are right there. But it is for the authorities to know about these documents, to learn these documents, and then to know how to implement. And this is where, as a commission, we come in. And that is why, from time to time, we go out there to teach those that are in authority, especially with issues such as bullying, in order for us to be able to assist them to understand how they should make sure that these are implemented. So, you know, they are beautiful documents. You know, they're just like our constitution in our country, the most beautiful document. But implementation just seems every time to become a problem. But then we realize that our shortcomings is just with regard to teaching, and in order to make sure that we all understand what role we need to be playing insofar as ensuring that there's understanding and, yes, there is implementation of these policies.
Just staying with that topic, Commissioner, what role do you play, you know, in the event a parent is not assisted in the manner that they would, you know, from a school, particularly where the school, in fact, would advise the parents to remove their child from that school? I mean, there is the legal recourse, you know, approach, but in as far as the Human Rights Commission is concerned, what role would you then play in a situation where parents would take it up with yourselves directly?
Yeah, so these matters do come to us, whether through the schools themselves or even the parents or the children. And when the matter comes before us, you'll understand that we then take it upon ourselves to make sure that there's investigation, and ultimately the matter will then be heard. So there will be a hearing where those that are involved will be called to that hearing, and then the matter will be dealt with from there. However, what we are trying to explain to the parents is that they do not keep quiet when such things happen, and they don't try and take the easy way out, which is just to remove their child from the school, because that can never really help. The child will be removed from this one school, go to another, but then experience the same problem. So it is important that we deal with the very problem that exists at that particular school. So what we're saying to the parents is they must also pay attention to their children. They must listen to their children when they talk about these issues, because what we've also noted is some parents will just be dismissive of the complaint by the child on the basis that they just don't seem to believe that a child would be facing that type of a situation. But this has assisted us in collecting the data, and like I said, then we go up to the very same communities, and yes, we write about this, we call them out, and of course, we talk to the Department of Education to make more inroads. And as a commission, of course, we are hoping to come up with recommendations with regard to if we should not at this time be teaching just on bullying inside the school. I mean, there's a beautiful book that has been written by a girl by the name Tando, you know, which explains it so beautifully, that can be used at a very young level. You know, that book can be used by, you know, those that are still in primary. You know, it's understandable to as early as grade 1, like your 7-year-old, even a 6-year-old can understand, because there's animations and makes it very easy for the children to understand. So again, I say that is why we've got, not only do we protect, but we also then promote. So in our promotion, this is where education comes in, and that's what we are doing in Olive Old Bosch today. And of course, then monitoring, and that's where we then bring people to book, and then we will definitely be able to take it further. Thank you so much.